So, hi, I'm here live with Rachael Owens. Welcome, Rachael.
Hi, Melita. So lovely to be here. I love hopping on calls with you because we always talk about such interesting stuff and we sometimes go off on tangents, but it's just so much fun.
Sometimes a lot of the time.
Yes.
Yeah, we've just been talking about school and business and kids and dogs and
Yeah, all the things, all the things.
so, Rachel, I've been following you for a long time now and very familiar with your business story, but I'd love it if you could share it with the audience because it's really, I love how you've evolved and grown through this process.
Yeah, so I started out working for a big company in London doing big brand, fancy campaigns, and when you're in your career and you're like doing well and you're on the fast track to success, but it just didn't feel, I was doing everything right, and on paper it looked like I had the best life, super successful, getting takeout, when you're working in media, you get taken to like shows and dinners and all this kind of stuff, but it just felt empty inside. Like the brands I was working for were like alcohol brands and airlines and things that just didn't seem to have any making a good impact on the world. And I was out partying and didn't really have any real friends or family down in London. It was fun, but it was all so fake.
Yeah.
So this is when I decided that this is not what I wanted my life to be like. And you have that kind of nagging feeling inside that's like, surely there's more than this. Like this is not it. This is not it. So I decided to move back up to where my family were and try and get back to who I was inside rather than this fake person that I was kind of showing everybody on the outside. So I moved back up to Yorkshire where my family are, but it was around the credit crunch time and there was no jobs. So I kind of went from this like high flying corporate girl to working in a bar because that was the only job I could get. They wouldn't even give me a job at Tesco's because they thought, no, she's just going to leave. So I was working in a bar, working from 10 p.m. till like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, like 4 hours. It's not like, I can't even believe it now. But a few weeks later, the general manager left and they just said, who wants to run the bar? And I was like, yeah, why not? So that was kind of gave me the business foundation because I had the marketing foundation, but I didn't really know the ins and outs of like, profit and loss and like the business side of things. So running that bar for 6 months really helped me build those business foundations. But again, still had that feeling like, this isn't it, surely. And then I went back into marketing, worked for a few different marketing companies and just was working for an IT company, which was boring, And then I just started talking to family and friends. And this is kind of, I suppose, how most businesses start off with your family and friends, like helping people out, doing stuff for free. And I remember I'd committed to, right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to build websites. I'm going to do business cards and websites. So we went to, in Malton, we have the Malton show. So we went to this Malton show and we were like so excited. We'd printed our own business cards out and we were walking around chatting to people and everyone was like, we'll just do it ourselves. Like we don't need you to do a website for us. We can just do it ourselves. So I was like, oh. And then I just kind of like got disheartened and kind of didn't really do anything more with my business for like 6 months. And I felt like I was like pretending to have a business. And
Mhm.
like I was like, who does she think she is? Like with this website that I'd built, and it all felt like it was just not real, like not a real business. But I did build a few websites for people, but I didn't really understand them. I didn't really understand how websites worked because I'd worked in outdoor advertising before, so posters, banners, like on tubes when you go down, the posters they have on there and all that kind of stuff. So I'd never really been in the online world before, so I didn't really know what I was doing. But I knew graphic design, and I knew that a lot of the businesses around here had paid tens of thousands of pounds for a website that just wasn't working, that was outdated, and I knew I could do a better job. So I had a few different clients, but then they launched these websites, but they didn't tell anyone, and they just assumed, like back in the good old days, people would just find it. People
Yeah.
would just magically find their websites. So this is when I kind of pivoted. This was my first pivot when I went more into sales funnels, because this was like, how do you drive traffic to a website? And then even more specifically, how do you launch something and kind of build an event around that? And then in the last sort of 12 months, I've gone even more niched into how can you build relationships and build a lucrative affiliate program and kind of all work together. And I've seen even the last sort of 12, 24 months, all of the big names, you know, like James Wedmore, Amy Porterfield, Stu McLaren, all working together and doing these affiliate, like joint venture partner launches, but in a way that just seems really like they're in it for the long haul, right? Because we see affiliate programs where it's like spammy, right? That's what the affiliate marketing world has, this like spammy reputation of you know, trying to sell stuff or like MLMs and stuff like that, and it's just kind of like not like that anymore. It doesn't have to be like that anymore, you know. We can just have like smaller programs where we kind of just talk to our friends and our business besties and our clients and help and support each other, especially at the moment when things are a bit tricky. Like, how can we help local businesses? Like, how can we help our fellow, you know, online business people, and how can we help promote them to our audience? So yeah, that's something that I want to talk about as well, but that's a brief summary. And now I do a mixture of, so I have a course about how to create affiliate programs. I have my membership that helps people transition from doing one-to-one to having courses and memberships. I have my mentoring, which is launch mentoring, but also affiliate mentoring, which I've added in. And I also promote other people's stuff. So I live what I preach about promoting other people and working together. So yeah, that's kind of the journey. And it's only sort of, yeah, maybe like the last 12, 24 months where I've actually stuck to something and felt like this is what I want to do. Because I love marketing, but it does feel a bit masculine at times. And I like to kind of lean into more like law of attraction and personal development and kind of spiritual stuff. So this relationship building and like how we can support each other just felt more aligned to me than just like sales funnels and like landing pages and emails.
Yeah.
Even though that is part of it.
Yeah, and I'm really starting to see a bit of a shift in the marketing world as well. So one of my first interview on this podcast, I spoke to Sarah Santa Croce, who is talking about gentle marketing. And I remember I was talking to one of my clients and we were working on her marketing strategy, and she's like, you know, this is kind of side door marketing. It's looking at how you can really add value and meaning for people and using that to market your business, rather than just going out with all this like blah blah, buy now, you know, the countdown is going, you know, you have to jump in soon. And instead building partnerships and making it all feel a lot more friendly and right for people, you know, taking that time to help people make the right decisions and find the exact right methods or programs or whatever it may be for them. And so yeah, I really love that shift, and I think you're really selling yourself short in your journey, because you've done an amazing job.
I can't talk about all of it. Be here all day.
You help so many people understand this digital marketing world, and the way you present it is a lot simpler than some of the programs. And I guess because you've gone that journey yourself, which is always a good way to go. And
I like to understand something myself, and I try and find a solution that is the easiest, the cheapest, you know, and the most user-friendly way to do something. Because if it's super fancy, then you're not going to use it or do it, you know.
Yeah, and I was talking to Elaine Salassa on the show, and she was saying, you know, when it comes to anything online, and if you take the fancy solution, you have to understand that there's a huge learning curve that's going to go with that. So if you go, yes, I'm going to go with the best solution with Infusionsoft, you're like, okay, just write off the next year to figure it out.
Yeah, if you're going to use Infusionsoft, you need a team.
yeah, exactly. So there's always a simpler way that you can just get started with and kind of learn as you go. And yeah, I love that you're kind of modeling that for your clients as well.
Yeah, because people ask me questions, and if I say, oh, I use this fancy thing that's so unobtainable for them, that's too expensive or too difficult technically to do, then it's not like I'm not going to be able to give any value to them, am I? Like I started using Wirecast, but then I was like, no, because that's like $600 or something. So I found another form of live streaming software that is easy to use and obtainable for people, and like I want it to be easy to use for me too, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Life's too short to be like figuring
Exactly.
out
Who wants to be
technology.
messing around trying to do all the things? You know, you just want to be able to serve your audience in the best way you can.
Yeah. And I think that's what it comes down to, isn't it? It's being really focusing in on serving your audience in the best way possible. And that is the massive advantage of having a clear niche. And I think
Yeah,
that's
I think
something that isn't always
definitely.
obvious at first. Like for yourself, it wasn't obvious. Oh, I'll do
Yeah.
websites, and then it's kind of like you've grown and learned and figured things out, and until you find your perfect niche, and that can take time, and that's okay. And I think sometimes it's stronger that time. You learn so many lessons in how to stay in the game from doing that process.
Yeah, and the thing that I've learned, you were just saying about staying in the game, from the big launches that I've been behind the scenes helping, you know, to manage, is that they don't let failures like floor them for like a week. You know, if anything goes wrong, it's like, let's fix it, let's carry on. It's not like, oh my God, why did I do this? I shouldn't be doing this. Like, oh, it's not going to work. Like, I'm rubbish, you know, and spend a week in that place and then give up. You know, they're just
Yeah.
like, right, let's get fixed, let's move on. Like, it's not as personal, you know, especially if it's something technical where they can't
Yeah.
really control it.
And it's great following some of these big guys like Stu McLaren, and is that his name? McLaren? That sounds wrong.
Yeah.
It is right.
Stu McLaren.
Why did that sound wrong all of a sudden? And Amy Porterfield and Marie Forleo, because you follow their launches, and there's always a moment where they send you an email going, "Whoops, that
Yeah,
link
the
didn't
checkout
work."
stopped working, or yeah, and
Yeah.
some of them do it on purpose, like, oops, the link didn't work, because
Ooh,
they
do
just want you
they?
to open the email. Yes, it is a tactic that people use.
Oh, that's good to
Oh,
know.
I made a mistake. Did you really?
Oh, sneaky.
Yeah, so there you go. Now you know.
I do. I'm going to be using that one. So, tell us about affiliate marketing and partnerships. So how can that work if you've got your own business and you don't really have any great relationships with these big people, or where do you start with that?
Yeah, so my best advice is to get 5 people who are kind of in your network. Your can be friends and family, but like your business besties. And then your own clients are the best place to start because they have already worked with you, they've already got results, and they are going to be your biggest champions. They're probably the ones who are promoting you the most already, you know, through like referring you or, you know, saying nice things about you. So the best place to start is to just work with them and ask them, how can I help you promote, you know, how can I help support you in giving people information, or can I do an email to your email list? Can I come and show up and do some training, you know, do some free training for their audience? Because if you just kind of say this is your one person that you want to help promote you, then their audience don't even know you yet. So you can't just go in and be like, buy my thing. You need to build that know, like, and trust like you did with your own like clients and your audience, and like they've done with their audience. So it's all about keeping it fun and light-hearted. So Instagram stories, like take over their Instagram account for a day, do a day in the life of what kind of stuff you do, like your dog or, you know, your kids or something fun, and give a few tips along the way, so you're adding that value as well. But it just kind of introduces you to their audience, because relationship marketing is not a quick fix. It's not like an overnight thing where you can just go in. Where someone posted in my big group the other day, like, okay, I've got a launch next week, how do I recruit affiliates? I'm like, that is not how it works. You can't just do it like next week, let's go. It's something that you need to build over time, and something that not only the relationships develop, but they need to introduce you to their audience as well, you know, or their clients, or whoever, you know, whatever level they're at. So yeah, just keep it fun and lighthearted. Do a Facebook Live together like this. You know, this is kind of you introducing me to your audience again.
Yeah.
So something like this, like an interview, is good because then it's not focusing on you. And that's why I started my interviews when I interviewed you, a few years ago, because I was scared to do Facebook Lives on my own. Like, I didn't want to show up and so it felt very narcissistic to start off with. And I just didn't, I was like, I'm just talking to myself. Like, how do you do that? So having guests is a really nice way for you to help start doing those Facebook Lives, and not only to introduce them to your audience, but maybe you've not been doing that that live streaming much, so it's a good fun way to kind of work together and collaborate and share what you've both got. So it's important to know if they match your values, because if you're promoting someone who's doing something totally different, so you were talking about the dental person, so if somebody has a dog grooming business and they're introducing someone who's a dental person, that kind of is not competitive at all, but at the same time your audience will be like, why is she telling me about dentist stuff? That's not why I follow her. But perhaps if you're a dog groomer and you're introducing someone who sells dog food or sells dog accessories or something that's to do with pet training, then that is a really good way for you to build that network of people who are doing similar things to you but not the same.
Yeah, exactly. And even when I had a physical product, I did that with pop-up shops and experience evenings and that kind of thing, and it was so much more fun. And I say,
Yes.
it took a lot of pressure off me to be the focus of attention and to spend all the time with people, and said it kind of enhanced the experience for the clients as well, and we all benefited from sharing each other's network. It was a
Yeah,
lot of fun.
definitely. And that's kind of what my podcast is about, is how can we make it more fun? How can we make our business less, especially when you're just starting out, you just feel oh, it's just me running my business all on my own. You just feel some days you just need those other people to bounce ideas off and to share with, and just to think oh, they're in the journey with me. I know the last launch I did for my membership, I had a gang of people who were promoting it, and it just felt it wasn't just all on me, and
Yeah.
they were getting loads of people signed up, and it was just the momentum that you get, and the kind of excitement around the launch kind of builds if you have other people talking about you or promoting it or doing podcasts or doing Instagram lives together. It just kind of makes it way more fun.
Yeah. So do you think affiliate marketing and relationship marketing, is it related to referral marketing, or is it very different?
Yeah, sure. So that's the triangle thing that I talk about. So there's referral marketing, which is more for when you're doing one-to-one stuff, because it's more difficult to set up on a course if someone's just referring you, unless they have a link already. So referral marketing's more just word of mouth, isn't it? And talking to people that way. And then there's the affiliate marketing, which is a more kind of more, I don't want to say more professional, because it's just a more organized way of doing marketing with partners. And then there's influencer marketing, which is kind of like referral marketing, but it's where you pay someone to talk about you, or they kind of talk about you to their audience. So influencers, when they're kind of bigger brands, and quite often you pay them to promote you. But I think building those relationships with affiliates and referrals is where you should focus on the most energy, because the other ones kind of, like I said, they don't know your audience, they don't know you, there's no relationship there, and it's just a case of you're paying them to talk about your brand. But
Yeah. And I like that you pointed out it takes time to build that relationship. Almost every day I get someone saying, hey, can you promote my stuff to your audience?
Oh my god.
No. I don't know who you are.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of quality you're gonna, or what experience my anyone I refer to is gonna get. So you need to take the time for people to experience that, and to understand for themselves what experience they're going to be sharing with their network, and want to do that, to be able to see that and sharing your product or service are actually adding value for those around them, and to feel confident with that. And as you say, that takes time to build up. And also, and I like that you pointed out, to help them introduce you to their audience, and for their audience to get to know you. I hadn't really thought about that extra level before, and I like that a lot.
So you could put like a one pager together. And in my affiliate program and in lots of other affiliate programs, you have just a little bit about who's your ideal person, you know? Who's your ideal person? You know, what struggles are they facing? How does your product solve their problems? Because then they've got the brand positioning and they'll go out and talk to the people that are right for you, not just like everybody.
Yeah.
Because then they know, because they are essentially an extension of your business, an extension of your brand. So you want to make sure they are portraying your brand and your messaging in the way that you want them to, and by giving them like graphics and copy and things like that to just kind of help them to just make it easy for them, you know. And Stu said this on my last podcast episode. He said, you know, how can you make it easier for people to promote you? You know, how can you make it easy for them? You're like, they don't want to be coming asking you questions and like, you know, like, how do I do this? What, like, make it easy. And, you know, show up for them, do training. Like, even if it's referral stuff, do a little training program. Like, here's how you can talk about me. And this is a bit of an insight. If they haven't already been through your program, then this is an insight about the program. And these are the results that people get. And like, give them all the collateral, you know, to be able to promote you, like overdo it, overkill.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess they're really an extended sales team, so you need to think like, if I had a sales person in my company, that's exactly what you'd do. You'd train them, you'd make sure they understand the brand and the experience you want people to have and who exactly they're reaching out to, so you would give them all this information. So yeah, it makes sense that these people aren't even that close to your business, so you're going to give them at least all of that, if not even more.
And at the other extreme of that, when I used to work for an IT reseller, so they basically resold software, IT software, and people like Apple and Microsoft, you have to have done official training and be accredited before you can even sell that kind of stuff. So that's like the other extreme, is to have like a full-on partner program. If you are like a big brand, that's the best way, is to have like a partner program, so you know the people promoting your business have that level of awareness of your brand offering, of your course or your program, and how they can go about promoting that. Because otherwise, you know, they might, if they've not been through your course either, or your membership or your program, then they might just be like, not know how to talk about it. And you're better off having like a handful of small affiliates or referral partners who know you so well, rather than hundreds and hundreds of people who just want to make money.
Yeah, absolutely. Because just being in it for the money is never a good, real motivation. It has to be about what was it we're talking about at the beginning, like serving through relationship.
I think that just goes for everything, doesn't it? Like, if you're ever in it for the money, get out.
Yeah, exactly. Especially as the money's not always there as quick as you want it. Everything always takes a bit longer.
Well, yeah, exactly. Especially with, if you become a referral partner for somebody, so like with Tribe, you don't get the payments until a few months, because there's the 30-day cooling off period, and then they leave another little bit of time, and then if people have done payment plans, so you think, woohoo, I've made all this money, but actually it's gonna like drip feed over quite an amount of months. But yeah.
So what about if you want to be an affiliate for someone else? How can you manage that relationship and make sure that you do a good job, and again, you enjoy it and you serve your community?
Yeah, so I only promote things that I've actually been through myself. So I only ever promote software that I've already used, or courses that I've actually been through and like trust. And that's difficult when you're starting out though, because maybe you can't fork out to go through that program. So the best thing, like you were saying, is to just do referral stuff to start off with, because then you know, like and trust your friend, and just do it as like a mutual benefit. So you don't have to set up any fancy software or anything like that. Like, I'll promote you to my audience and you promote me to your audience. Just keep it as simple as that. Yeah, what else was the question?
How can you be a good affiliate?
Oh, right. Okay. So get on their email list, like reply to them on Instagram, you know, like with Stu and Amy Porterfield and all those other people. I just kind of see how I can help them. How can I support them? How can I show up for them? How can I promote them? How can I, you know, grow their audience? And they see that, they see that, and they really appreciate that, and then they go out of their way to help me promote the course. So I asked if Stu would come on podcast. He said yes. I was like, what?
And you did a workshop with him last year as well, didn't you? Did he come and do a workshop?
No, this is the first time I've done like a live with him, but maybe it was his workshop that I was promoting last year. But I didn't really. Yeah. It was the first time I'd really been on the other side of it, so it's quite difficult when you've been a behind the scenes person to when you start your own business, because when you're behind the scenes, if you're like a launch manager or doing funnels and stuff like that, they have like a copy person and a graphics person and somebody else, and you just manage the process. Right? When you start on your own business, your audience is 0 and you don't have that team of people that you can reach out to. But people expect, because you're the expert, because you've done it for other people, that, oh, you should be doing the same thing. But that's just not really how it works. And service providers get quite a lot of stick, when they're just starting out, because it's like, well, you say that you're the Instagram expert, but your Instagram's only got 200 followers, something like that. But it's because they've been building other people's businesses. And again, that's why I shifted from client work to doing memberships and courses, because I enjoyed doing client work, but I was still living someone else's dream and living their business. Whereas now I have my own business, and it's more difficult because, you have to kind of go through those learning curves, but it helps me to be able to support others on the journey, because I've actually been through it myself, rather than just working for big brands and like everything's done for them. There's not really that many things that go wrong. Whereas having my own business and going through those little like pitfalls, then it makes you understand a little bit like, oh, right. So with that big brand, X is really easy. But for a small brand, trying to do that takes months,
Yeah, I think as a small company, you have to learn to do things quite differently, and to build the relationships with people who can help you in specific areas so you can move forward without making too many mistakes or driving yourself crazy in the process, which I think we all do at some point. And then we learn from that. Right, that's what they mean by ask for help.
And I'm a big advocate for, finding a mentor that's just a few steps ahead of you that can help guide you on that journey. So that's, But I'm also like Stu says, you don't have to get it perfect, you just have to get it going. And that was like with my membership. I just started it and I've learned so much in the 2 years. And I think just do it messy, just get it started, and then the money you make you can invest back in hiring people and making it pretty and making it, a bit more slick and streamlined. But when you're just starting out, I think just get out there, get talking to people and get working with people.
Yeah, just get stuck in and figure it out.
Yeah, just do it. Messy, get in the trenches.
Yeah, and I think that can feel scary at first when you already have these feelings sometimes of, can I really do this? Am I good enough? And so to launch something that feels messy can feel quite scary to do that. But it's where everybody starts, and we sometimes forget that nobody starts off with this beautiful polished thing. It's kind of something that's evolved from going through the mess or the chaos.
Yeah, like even people like Amy Porterfield, you look at her stuff right at the beginning, and on her Facebook page she's got some stuff, if you scroll right back to in the beginning, and she was doing like little Facebook courses, and like one person likes it and he was from India or something, like everybody starts somewhere, and you just think, whoa, because she's got like multi-million-pound course and like all of this attention that she's always been there. But no. And even with like James Wedmore was a video guy, so he was doing videos for people and then teaching people how to do their videos, but he wasn't really getting much traction, and he wasn't really like, he was just a normal guy. Like most of these people are just normal people that just are persistent and resilient, and they just have cool ideas and they take action. And I think taking action is the key thing, right? You can learn all of the things in the world, but if you don't take action, then you just get stuck.
And that's the thing, well, coming back to where we started, almost all of these big names that you see out there now, they have all learned how to use this affiliate and partnership model, because you see it, wherever, like Amy is, Stu's not far behind, and they all work so well together. And I think that's a huge lesson that they've kind of, a rising tide lifts all ships. It's that kind of theory, isn't it? That you work together and you all rise together. And as you say, it's more fun then too.
And they're modeling what it is to work together and collaborate, and they're being like good role models for the rest of us who maybe see somebody who's doing a similar thing to us. And somebody posted in our group this week, someone in her local area is doing the same thing but cheaper. What should I do? Just ignore it.
Yeah.
No. So like, you know, you and I both work in industries where there's bazillions of people, you know, trying to do a similar thing or like in that kind of niche. And I think the key thing is to just focus on you and share as much of you as possible, because then people who resonate with your message, who are in your little niche, you know, will resonate with you because you are your USP. Like, that's it, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
And there's always going to be people who are more expensive, people who are cheaper, people who do something like differently, but stick to your own way, because that's where you're going to add the most value, is like doing it your way. And there's going to be people that will relate to your way and won't to the others, and vice versa, and that's okay.
Yeah, and so many people just give up or think, ugh. Like, even when I was promoting Tribe last year, there was like so many people that were doing a better job, you know, at promoting it than me, had a bigger audience, and I was like, why am I even bothering to compete against these people? And then I thought, no, like, how can I flip that on its head? Like, what can I deliver that they can't? And I was thinking, okay, well, I could do one-to-one. They can't do one-to-one to all those millions of people. You know, how can I make it more personal? You know, how can I add my value to the mix? And it worked out in my favour. So
yeah,
I think
it paid for you to go to Canada with your family and actually be there with the tribe and meet you in person. And so it doesn't have to be like, you don't have to afford to buy a mansion at the end of it. It's just whatever success means to you. And I remember I think that's one of the very first videos I remember watching of you, was you talking about the inner success and inner goals versus outer goals. And so many people focus on the outer goals, and it's like having the bigger house or the bigger car, and they miss the inner goals, which are the ones that really have you feeling fulfilled and satisfied, and feeling that, this is where I want to be. I've really contributed to this, and they're so much more powerful, but often it's not where we put our focus.
Yeah, because those outer goals, and this is something that I've only really like got to grips with since I became a single mum, because before I was always living for my mum's approval, or doing like wanting to please my partner, or do. And it wasn't until I was single for like 2-3 years that I was like, right, what do I want? Who am I? You know, without any external influences, you know, what do I want? And literally every decision I made, I was like, is this me, or is this so-and-so speaking? And is this something that I really want, or is it what I think I should want, you know, or what I think I should have? And it wasn't until I kind of like broke those shackles, you know, of all that conditioning that we get over the years of like who we should be and what we should show up for. And like, it's a never-ending process, you know. We've spent how many years, like probably the last 20 years. Glennon Doyle, I don't know if you know her, she's just released a book called Untamed, which I've just started reading, and she was on a kind of podcast, isn't it, Marie Forleo's show, and she was saying at the age of 10 or 11 is when you kind of start caring what people think, you know, and start taking on that identity. And when she met her partner, so she was in a marriage to a man, and then she met a woman and got married to a woman, and her wife went to her mum and said, oh, I want to ask your daughter to marry me. And she was like, what's she gonna say? And Glennon's mum said, I have never seen her this happy since she was 10 years old. And apparently when she was 10 years old was when she started having bulimia and, you know, all these issues and around food. And her first book, I can't remember what it's called, Love Warrior or something, literally is my life story. Like, when I didn't have bulimia, but she used to drink to like numb the, like, to just pretend to be this person that everyone liked. And just reading her book just really hit home. But her situation was a bit more extreme than mine. But then even like when she was like in a relationship and how she felt like empty and like, surely there's more to life than this. And like she was playing the role that she thought everyone wanted her to play. And when you show up like that, then you just don't attract the right people, the right situations, because you're not showing your true self. And it's only through knowing myself, and then with my partner now, we've been together a year now, just being myself, no matter what that looks like, you know? Because when you start showing up and being yourself, then you attract the right kind of people, and people like love you more for it, you know? Because you're just being raw, even when I have PMS.
I was watching RuPaul's masterclass, and he says the same thing. He's like, you know, once you kind of connect with who you really are and you show up as that person, then suddenly all these people turn around and go, oh, there you are, we've been waiting for this moment.
Where have you been?
Yeah, exactly. And it's great. And we were talking earlier about mentorship, and it's important to have someone who is coaching you or mentoring or just there for you, who's a few steps ahead. And I think that you can also have silent mentors. So you read the book and you reconnected with that, and it made you feel like you're not alone in your journey, and you had a kind of framework almost to follow too, and some inspiration. So I think it's great to have a physical person that you can reach out to, but also look for these silent mentors, the people whose podcasts you can follow, or books you can read, or YouTube channel you can watch, who you really connect with and can take some valuable lessons from them and move forward too. So there's always surrounding yourself with these amazing people. Doesn't have to be like, well, not that these people are fake people, but you know what I mean, real people who are you can reach out and touch, but other people out there in the blog sphere or whatever.
Oh my god, there's so many. And I was watching a video with Gary Vee the other day, and he was talking to a young kid who's at home, like stuck at home now, with parents who don't treat him very nicely and aren't very like positive, and he just feels like an alien in his own home. And Gary Vee's advice was, listen to as much positivity as you can, you know? And like you're saying, it doesn't have to be a physical person, just can be like listen to a podcast or read a book, or just try and like distance yourself from negativity and try and listen to these people who are supportive, who are positive, who are doing things, who are taking action, like that are doing the things that you wish you could do, you know, like out there actually achieving things. And I think having that mindset, you know, rubs off if you listen to it enough.
Yeah, it totally does. And suddenly the things you thought were impossible, you think, actually, maybe I could do that. And you start to, like, the people around you who are negative or say you can't do that because they've never experienced it. You know, often when people say you can't do that, what they're actually saying is like, I couldn't do that, so I can't see how someone else can. But if you surround yourself with these amazing people, then you can push yourself beyond that and try and discover for yourself that actually, yeah, I can do that. And it's such an amazing feeling, isn't it? Once you do something that you never thought you could, then you're like, wow, well, what else could I do?
Absolutely. And I think when you're just starting out in business, especially if you have a little bit of success, people don't like it.
Yeah.
Because you're doing what they want to do, but they just they're not brave enough to take that step. Like people always say to me, how do you, like, oh, I love having my monthly paycheck, like, oh, that security. And it's like when anyone starts to lose weight or, you know, make their life any better. And luckily for me, I surround myself with people now who aren't like that. But, you know, most people don't like to see other people win, which is like, why are people like that? But they're like, oh, do you want a cake? Oh, go on then, like, I'm dieting, but I'm like, no, support each other, don't do that. But that's something Tony Robbins says as well about, like, when people see you getting the success that they didn't have, then they, you know, they want to try and hamper that, or they want to bring you down to their level, because it's like, okay, I'm comfortable with that, like, I understand that. When I had Richie, I was vegan. When he was born, I breastfed him till he was 3.5, and I kind of forget all this weird stuff that I did. And he was raw vegan, so he ate raw fruit and veg till he was like 3.5, 4. And people thought I was nuts. They thought like not many people said it to my face, but a lot of my family said, "Oh, we have to field questions all the time. Like people are always asking questions." But again, it was like I was just so in touch with my intuition, and that was what it was telling me. That was what I should do. You know, try and live as close to if we were in the wild. And everyone used to always laugh at me. We don't live in the wild though. Like we just and I think you've just got to do what feels right to you, because everybody's journey is different, and everything that every decision that you make is, you know, is a decision that only you can make. So
yeah,
the other thing
exactly.
I wanted to just mention was about you saying about the things we have to do, and like if you flip that around to like I get to do this, you know, I get to be at home with my kid, I get to spend this time with them, and it's a difficult time, you know, they're annoying sometimes when you're with them 24/7. But like in your business, you're like, oh, I have to post every day. Oh, I have to do this. No, you get to do it. You don't have to do it.
I
You know, you
love
get to
that.
do it.
That's
Yeah.
a great turnaround. Rachel, you have been amazing. I could just sit here and talk to you all day.
I know, right? We could just waffle. I need to go and tend to the child.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So before we wrap up, how can people find you if they want to know more about your membership and this affiliate program that you have, and how can they find you?
Yeah, so my membership's shut at the moment. But if you go follow me on Facebook, it's Rachael Owen UK. Or if you just search Rachael Owen, you can find me anywhere. On Instagram, it's just Rachael Owen. On Twitter, it's Rachael Owen. I don't really use Twitter that much though. Or just go to rachealowen.com. And all of my info is on my website. And if you go on rachealowen.com/blueprint, then you can get my lead generation blueprint, which I've had for like 3 years as like my core opt-in. But there is going to be a new like relationship marketing one coming soon.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Rachel. And I'll put all those links underneath as well in the show notes so people can just click straight on
Awesome.
through. And that lead generation tool sounds amazing. I'm sure there's lots of people who are going to be like, I need that.
Yeah, it's been I've had thousands and thousands of people opt into it, and every time I think about doing a new one, and I do add different ones into the mix, but that just is my core one. I just kind of always come back to that one.
Yeah, brilliant. Great. Well, thank you so much, Rachel. And I look forward to speaking with you again soon.
Take care.